Blog Talk Radio.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to another broadcast of Real Talk All the Time, 100% real, unpolished, unrehearsed, unapologetic, real talk for real people with your host, myself, H.J. Morgan. We got Sydney in the building. Our brother Rob Hall could not be with us tonight due to some scheduling conflicts, but he'll be back with us soon. It is so good to be back on the air. We thought we'd be away for a couple of weeks because we had some scheduling conflicts of our own here on our show and some things going on outside of the show. Of course, you all know we're still working people and school and things of that nature, so we had to maneuver some things, but it turned out we weren't away for as long as we thought, so we decided to come back tonight and, kind of go over the main topic tonight, of course, is the first 2 weeks of a Donald Trump regime. We're going to be talking about that and all the blowback from all these executive orders and travel bans and this, that, and the third, and the confirmations of people that have no idea what they're doing in the positions that they're being confirmed into. So much to talk about. And we'll be chopping it up with my man Doc Holliday. He's going to join us especially tonight to chop up some things in regards to that. There's a lot going on, and so what I do want to do, though, I do want to give a shout out to some people I respect. My man Jason Black, he has a channel on YouTube called the Black Authority, and he has a movie. This is actually his second documentary that he's releasing. It actually starts this week, February 11th. It's called Gentrified, Ethnic Cleansing, American Style. All right, and you can check out the information for that film on youwillbemoved.org. That is youwillbemoved.org. And you're talking about the gentrification happening in a lot of major cities here in the United States. They're talking about Chicago, New York, D.C., Detroit, Atlanta, Dallas. So you might want to check that out, and how basically housing and the economy is being weaponized against the poor, who are most of the time, African Americans, and traditional or historically black neighborhoods are no longer that way anymore, and in a lot of these places, public housing is also being done away with. So if you can, go to their website and see if you can get tickets to a showing in your city and support that brother and that documentary, Gentrified. You can also check out the trailer for that on his website as well. First things first, we usually do sports. Very interesting. We just had the Super Bowl, Sine. And I know usually you don't traditionally follow sports, but I know you couldn't miss. But if you didn't see it, hear about all the commotion and the action and everything like that in regards to the Super Bowl this past Sunday. For many of us, it was not the result that we wanted, and it's kind of funny because I've heard so many different arguments on sports. Some people say, hey, sports it doesn't mean anything, and this, that, and the other, and why are we so wrapped up into sports? But I just want to say this, and I want to throw something out at you and to our listeners out there. Of course, the chat is open today. We got the chat room working today. Last time we didn't have it working. Chat room was working, so you can post your questions or comments there. And of course, the phone line is 657-330-612. But I want to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that when it comes to sports, a game is just a game? And be honest with me, Sine. I want to ask you that. Do you think that when we talk about sports, we talk about football, we talk about boxing, we talk about basketball, baseball, do you think that a game is exactly what we're looking at when we talk about sports? Is a game just a game, or do you think there's other connotations to it? And be honest.
Are you talking about professional games?
Yes,
or just
I'm talking
games?
about professional. I'm talking about professional sports.
No, I don't think it's just a game. I think many times there are other things going on in the background, like a lot of other things in our world. So, no, I don't think it's just a game, because there's a lot of money riding on stuff. So money drives everything.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think it's just a game. Not at all.
Okay. Well, I want to share a thought with you, and this is not just something that I came up, that Jakim just came up with off the top. This is something that you can actually observe when you look at history. A game, folks, is not just a game, and I'm going to explain to you why. We live in a world where anything and everything can be weaponized. I'm going to say that again.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world where anything and everything can be weaponized, and sports especially. And I'm going to use several examples for you guys to draw the picture so you understand where I'm coming from. I'm going to take one of the greatest empires of all time. I'm going to take the Roman Empire, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to explain how, for them, sports was never just about games, okay? When we talk about sports to an empire such as Rome, it was about pageantry and prowess, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That was first, okay? It also showed to the citizens of Rome and to any outsiders, whether they be slaves, captives, or opposing forces, that, hey, we are in control, okay? And it also provided needed escapism to your lower class citizens, okay? It provided a way to get your mind off of whatever it is that was happening. So you had events. I mean, let's look at it. Let's be real. You had your gladiator fights. Now, this was sport, but somebody died at the end of these fights or during.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And they died in the most brutal of ways, to the applause and cheers of fans and stuff like that, right? You had your chariot races. For those of you that ever watched the old school or the new school Ben-Hur, these chariot races weren't just about racing to a finish line, okay? They took something that may have been innocent in another culture, such as racing, and turned it into a battle to the death, okay? As we're riding around in circles, I'm trying to kill you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even a chariot race wasn't just a game, you know? Often Rome would reenact certain battles, where they would be sea battles or land battles in the Colosseum, and this was called sport. But again, somebody died, and this helped to cover those three things I mentioned to you: pageantry and prowess. We're showing we're in control here, okay, and escapism. Now, oftentimes you would have maybe a famine in Rome. There was a shortage of food. You may have had, the plebs or your lower class citizens might be getting unruly. They wanted to riot because they finally realized the situation was shit and they didn't like it no more. You know what I'm saying? Or you had some type of political upheaval going on in the Senate, whatever the case may be. And the very first thing they would do is say, you know what, we're going to sign an edict, which today would be considered a executive order. I'm throwing up air quotes right now, Sine. And we would have games for 3 to 6 months. And this would show, hey, no matter what's happening outside these walls of this city or outside the walls of this Coliseum, we're in control. Yes, there's rioting. Yes, there's, the people are starving to death. But you can come in here and for a couple of hours be entertained. You understand what I'm saying? You remember that scene in what's the name of it? Gladiator.
Gladiator.
When dude was fighting these guys, and then he had to fight this damn tiger afterward and all this shit. And at the end, he said he threw his sword down and said, "Are you not entertained and shit?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is that shit. You understand what I'm saying? So for these few hours, you would escape. But as soon as you walk back out, you was in the same damn situation that you was in. All right? So sports was never just sports for the sake of having a good time. It was used as a weapon to do certain things and to show certain things. Let's fast forward into the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, where you had boxing, right? You have somebody like Jack Johnson, who was the first black heavyweight champion, and he would fight in all white crowds, okay? And he would have Klansmen, okay, in these crowds, cursing them out. They wanted this man to lose, and Jack Johnson would be beating the living shit out of any of his opponents. Okay, now here's a situation where sports kind of backfired on the dominating society because they wanted to show their powers there too, and you have to think about the time. This is right after slavery, Reconstruction's going on. You know what I'm saying? And this is a time where a lot of black people were getting lynched and shit like that. So this was a way to not only we kicking you guys' asses in your daily lives. We're gonna kick your ass in organized sports too. We're gonna kick your ass in this boxing ring. And Jack Johnson was a bad cat, and he of course was a champion. And he wasn't having none of that. And one thing about Jack is that he would talk to these cats as he's beating their ass. He was, before Ali was talking shit, Jack Johnson was the shit talker. And he'd be talking about these guys' mamas and all types of shit as he's beating the shit out of them. And Jack was so bad that he would tell him what hand he's going to hit him. I'm gonna hit you with this right. You ready? It's coming. And they couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop the man. He would tell him what hand he's going to hit him with, and they couldn't stop him. So, again, they wanted to use this sport to shame people, all right? And to show their prowess, right? And to show, hey, we're in control. And they wanted to show escapism. Not only do we abuse you in our during the regular work day, we're going to abuse you in our off time too. Okay, so here it is again. Sports ain't just sports. It's just not fun and games. I'm going to show you one more example. When it comes to Muhammad Ali, greatest of all time, if it was just fun and games, when he refused to fight in Vietnam, they would have never snatched his titles from him. Okay? They would have never taken his titles and stripped him of his titles if it was just fun and games to them. You understand what I'm trying to say? So sports is never, ever really fun and games in the hands of the dominant society. It's always a weapon. So now fast forward to the Super Bowl, and here's my take on it, and I'm going to try to be brief but direct. The Super Bowl, which what I want to call America's new team, because they say the Dallas Cowboys is America's team. I want to say that the New England Patriots is America's team right now, and I'll tell you why. One, the name, okay, Patriot. Everybody's like, oh yeah, everybody wants to be patriotic, and then you have this, this. What I say it jokingly, but I'm being totally honest. The great white hope of football, Tom Brady, okay, with this white receiving core, right? And you know what? He has a good team, but to have them go to the Super Bowl right now, they've been to other Super Bowls, but right around now, when you have a regime like a Donald Trump regime, this shows you the pageantry and prowess of what's happening in the country right now. It shows you, although all hell's breaking loose all around the country because of all these executive orders, right? And the travel bans and the this, that, and the other that's being pulled out by the roots right about now. It shows you we're in control. And for those that are just so stressed out about everything happening, a little bit of escapism. You understand what I'm saying? Let's forget about we're being royally screwed for about 3 hours and watch this football game. So this game was super duper important for a lot of people. Okay, not just the fans with the jerseys and this, that, and the other, but this was super duper important for many in positions of power in this country. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why sports ain't always just a game. You understand what I'm saying? Now, before I bring, I got a call here. They wait, baby patient. I'm gonna bring him in. But what do you think when you hear that breakdown? What do you think about sports now? Can you see how things can be kind of twisted for anybody's benefit, especially if you're the power source here in this country?
Oh yeah, I mean we see it still in the Olympics now. We've seen it when Jackie Robinson, they chose him out of all of the black men that were playing for the Negro League. There was a reason why they chose him. So everything has a method. It's a method to everything they're doing. Nothing is random. Nothing is by chance. It's not like how it's portrayed to be. And if people don't look deeper, then so when you're saying that to me, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. I'm always like seeking to learn more and get deeper because I still feel like it's so much that we don't know. For what we do know, it's so much that we don't know. And people would really probably be surprised at how much goes on behind the scenes while people are on the field throwing balls or hitting the balls or whatever type of sports, running track or whatever they're doing. What's really going on behind all of that facade.
Right. Well, here's something. If it was just meaningless, then why would they be mad for somebody taking a knee? You know, these guys, during the national anthem, we had that thing go. Why would you be mad at this guy? He's just a silly athlete. If it don't mean nothing, then why are you so bothered by it? You understand what I'm saying? So
they upset now. They upset now. One of my coworkers that I work with, he was telling me that they're upset because there are some brothers who are not going to meet Donald Trump.
Yes.
And
Well,
they're all upset. But he brought up something that, of course, I didn't know because I don't pay attention to sports like that. That Tom Brady, when it was his turn to meet Obama, he chose to go to the Apple store or something and buy a watch. So he passed on the chance to meet with the president then, and nobody was up in arms. And so, it is definitely used as a tool.
Right, Tom Brady snubbed the President Obama on purpose, and so this brother is saying, I forgot his name, McCourty, I think is his last name, and he's saying, no, I'm not going. I don't feel like I need to go. I'm not going. And you know what? And people are mad. In fact, one of the first things, now see, this is what I'm talking about, how things are weaponized and how if you think there's not a race problem in America, you're crazy. The first thing one of these fans, one of these faithful Patriot fans says is, oh, you cotton picking nigger. He calls him a cotton picker. Well, go back to picking cotton then or some crazy shit. So the first thing you do now is you attack the man's race and then what his ancestors were forced to do. You understand what I'm saying? But again, it's supposed to be just a game. It's supposed to be a kid's game. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is how you, when people try to get at you a certain way, you got to hit them hard and often. You understand what I'm saying? Because, again, this is what history has showed us. So no, it's not just a game for the dominant society and the dominant classes. Absolutely not. This is, again, to show power and prowess, okay? I mean, in pageantry. All right, we're in control, and, of course, you get a little bit of escapism. I'm going to go ahead and bring in early. I'll bring in my man Doc Holliday. My man Doc Holliday, you're live, brother. What's going on with you?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
All right, and yourselves, kind
Can
sir.
you hear?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
I'm getting better. Yet, as you know, I'm just getting over the flu, so I may sound a little hoarse or raspy here and there, but other than that, I've been fine.
Good, sir.
And and I'd love to speak on or follow up on your analogy about sports.
Absolutely,
in
yeah. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, in particular, this Super Bowl, there was a controversial touchdown
Yes,
that
I know.
the Patriots supposedly scored, and I saw it. They actually replayed it on the video.
Mm-hmm.
My wife saw it. There are other people questioning it as well. So I know we ain't crazy, but they never reviewed this particular touchdown. The guy's feet and knees did not were already down before he crossed
the goal line. Right, exactly.
And
I saw it too.
It seemed like everybody just let that go, and it was obvious. And so it's not, to me, it wasn't that hard to see. And I don't understand why nobody called that, particularly the Falcons. Although, particularly the Falcons. Now, and so this kind of to me, I know that the Crackers, the powers that be, want Tom Brady to win all the time. He is, in fact, a symbol to them of superiority, efficiency, and he sort of is a throwback to that old mentality that the NFL used to have, and white folks in this country used to have, that black people are not intelligent enough to be quarterbacks. Well, they can't go back that far anymore, but what they want to try to do is give a white quarterback an image of being the best quarterback that ever lived, which is a bunch of bullshit, but they're trying to do it. The only thing I can say now is that I believe that stuff doesn't have as much of a successful impact on people's minds as they'd like it to.
Right.
But they're still going to try. They're still going to try. And without that bogus call or lack thereof, the game outcome probably would have been different. Like
it
in
very well
Seattle.
Could have been.
Yeah, just like in Seattle, where they was right up on the goal line and getting ready to win their first Super Bowl, and bang, it was snatched from them. Now, anybody in their right mind in that Super Bowl, how would you make a call like that? And the thing with that, I don't care what nobody say, is that the coach of the Seahawks was a mentor or a mentee of the coach of the other team. I forgot what the other team was, and I think he was just giving his old teacher a gift, so he screwed his own team to do that. And white folks do stuff like that. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're paranoid. That sounds childish." No, it ain't childish at all. And they do stuff like that to try to dishearten us or to try to boost their own images. And I believe, even in the case of this year's Super Bowl, that they did it again.
Right. Well, at this point, I mean, you know what? Of course, they'll call it speculation. I have my own ideas. You have yours. And, of course, Danae, I know you have yours. But one more quick example on sports is not just a game. Is of course, I wasn't around, but my mother and father were around for this. And when the Brown Bomber fought against Max Schmeling those two times, that was another example or expedition of America trying to show its prowess and hold over black people in this country. And of course, Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, beat the shit out of Max Schmeling. And of course, that actually uplifted black people in this country at that time, and it shamed the dominant society to a T. So again, sports is always weaponized in the hands of the dominant society. Don't you dare believe anything otherwise. And history will teach you, if you need to research what I've said tonight, and history will teach you that indeed sports has always been a weapon in the hands of the conqueror. So just wanted to put that out there. Real quick before we go into our main thing here, I got a few minutes here. I just want to say that for those that don't know, here on the local side in New York tri-state area, you have the case of this Howard Beach jogger that was found murdered back in August. I don't know if you're aware of that, Sine, if you were able to follow some of that down there where you're at. But it happened up here in Howard Beach, Queens, which has always been a notoriously racist area here in New York, racist towards black people. In fact, there was a murder in the 80s when I was a teenager of a black male who was chased onto the highway and killed by some group of white youths in that neighborhood. So it's always been a place of racial tension. I made a joke, but it was serious. I said today that when I see a white woman jogging, I run into the opposite direction. In fact, I'll run out to the middle of the street sometimes, almost into oncoming traffic myself, to get the fuck away, because I don't want to be caught up in any bullshit. But what happens here in America, time and time again, is that you have these situations when nobody's around, a white woman is killed, and suddenly it's always a black person that's accused of this. The Central Park Five, the Central Park jogger, same thing. These kids, of course, were found innocent later on. And, of course, your president right now made a statement that he wanted those young boys executed. Okay? And what happened was, even after these kids were exonerated and found to be innocent, he did not retract his statement. He doubled down on it.
That's right.
Instead, he wouldn't change anything about it, even after the kids were found innocent. But this is your president. This is the president of the United States right now. And these are his statements. Go ahead and research them if you need to. These were his statements. So here you have a young man who we saw given the perp walk today here in New York. And the kid is a kid, 20 years old. He looks clueless. He don't know what the fuck is going on.
He does. He really does.
He does.
Looks like
he
what
don't know
the hell
what
is
the fuck
happening.
is going on. So what happens is when I see this shit, and I'm not the only one. There's lots of people that are talking about this online on Facebook and social media, and many people don't believe it at all. Here we have, just coming off the heels of this 80-year-old racist cunt that accused Emmett Till of whistling at her, and he was lynched and murdered, and then had to wait till she's 80 years old to confess that that she lied, and then you have this happening right now. So I'm like, wow, man, here we go again. And I mean, and history also, again, do the research, will show you time and time again, there's been countless black males lynched, beaten, or put in jail for allegedly doing something to some white woman. And it's been all throughout the history here in the United States. Since the time we've been brought here to these shores to serve, it's always been, some white lady being murdered or raped by some black guy, some mysterious black guy. You understand what I'm saying? I call it the old white lady jogging routine. You won't hit me with that one. Like I said, I see it. I'm running in the opposite direction. So, it's just a shame that here we are, we're still dealing with the same kind of shit. But I truly believe that something much more nefarious happened to this young lady, and I'm sorry that she's dead. I don't know her from Adam. Don't have nothing against her. It's unfortunate, but I think something far more nefarious happened, and many think that the father had something to do with it. The father found her, and they think maybe the father had something to do with it.
Right?
So,
like the way he found her, and then like I read and saw where they were saying that she had touched DNA on her back that matched with this young man, and if all of this roughing up and stuff went on, I just touch DNA. Like I don't know. I don't know about all of that.
Right.
You got to be very careful when you say DNA anyway, because there's so many ways that they use it and they test it. You have to be very careful with stuff like that. But people just think, DNA is in the bag. But I've seen things where it's not really like that. It's not so cut and dry like that.
Right. Well, like I said, it just seems awfully convenient. This kid doesn't have any criminal record. A couple of summonses. Shit, I got a couple of summonses. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's very interesting, and it's just very bizarre. We had an autistic child here in New York 2 years ago now go missing on camera out of a school. They found his body. Probably never pursued any type of murderer for this kid.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah, Gavin Cattle. He disappeared and killed this kid. And nobody knows nothing. This girl goes is jogging, winds up dead. All of a sudden, they got somebody. It's just I don't know, man. It's just a lot of bullshit.
They said the reasoning is because he was broke and he was just mad about things. Like
he was just mad. So
I don't know.
Look at the subtle. In fact, fuck the subtle. Look at the blatant subliminal message they're trying to put. Angry black man. He just goes around choking white people. You understand what I'm saying? Just think about that for a second. He said, I'm mad about something. And he chokes this lady who was jogging. And she was raped too. So he was mad to choke and rape somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just goes back to that old, thing. Angry black people, angry black male, And so you got this kind of bullshit. I don't believe none of it. I'll be honest. I don't believe none of this bullshit at all. So, I think the suspect is much closer to the victim than we know. Real quick, Doc Holliday, you got anything on that case?
Not really, except I believe I feel exactly the way you do, that something is amiss with this, and that it's not all as logical or as obvious as they're trying to make it. And one of the other things I noticed about criminal cases against black people, I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, but I used to notice a pattern when I was young, and I still think that pattern exists, is that whenever somebody white has done something extremely egregious and they have to be charged in some way, usually for the next day or even a couple of weeks later, they come up with somebody black that they can accuse of doing something egregious and arrest and put on trial for. So it's as if somebody out there white does something bad, they have to erase the image of what that white person did and bring it back to showing you that blacks are the criminalized people, and they're the most, they do the most horrible things, and these are who you should be concerned with. And I said, damn, we can't even get an arrest of somebody white who deserves to be arrested and put in jail without them trying to, flip the script and say, oh no, look at this black person, I think I've observed that in a lot of these types of stories, like this case now. Something, and I can't off the top of my head think of something egregious that somebody white did. In fact, they do so much. It's just ridiculous these days to be able to point out just one. But a lot of times that is what happens in these types of cases. They feel guilty or are actually guilty of something, and the next thing you know, they want to erase that from the public eye, and they come up with somebody black that did something. So it's like you, I think there's something very fishy about this whole case. And it's sad, that somebody gets caught up in something like this, and their life essentially is over, and there's nothing that can be done about it, and it's really it's heartbreaking, and it's a fact of our lives in this country, unfortunately.
Right. I just want to say this real quick. Like you said, if you're accused and you're poor, and in this case, if you're poor, then you're a person of color in this country of something, your life is basically over. But if you're white and accused of something and you did do it, basically your life's just beginning, because you probably ain't going to jail at all. Look at this case where this judge refused to put this swimmer in jail because he figured it would ruin his life, basically. And the guy did rape somebody, admittedly raped somebody. He got 3 months in jail or something like that. There's been several cases.
And raped her. He drugged and raped her.
In the last year,
it wasn't even like he could say she teased him or anything. That was a plan.
Right.
And he's walking around.
There's several cases, Sinead, of rapes, admitted rapes. You can't deny it, rapes. Caught in the act rapes. Okay, in the last year, of white males on women, whether they be black, whether it be small children, whether they be unconscious, whatever the case may be, and none of these cats are going to jail, and if they do, it's for less than 90 days or community service. So we have a problem here. We have a problem. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, at this point, if you don't know we have a problem, you're insane or just in complete denial. But we have a problem here. Now, my last thing on this is now the headlines was called "Demon in the Weeds" or some shit like that, as referring to this black kid. The headline for Dylan Roof was "Let's all forgive." So here we go again, and this is why I say it's so important for shows like this, Real Talk All the Time, Real Sports Talking, to paint other shows like this, because we have to start drawing our own narrative, creating our own narrative and our own view on things. We can't let the dominant society's media continue to paint pictures to people. We have to stop that shit.
Right.
All right? When they kill people and shoot up whole towns, churches, set them on fire, eating people, there's shit like that, it's always, well, this guy was a lone wolf, he even had a mental disorder, or let's just all forgive.
Oh, always the mental disorder, mental health
crazy.
issues.
he's just crazy. You know, I don't know. You know, and it's this bullshit. And at this point, they're fucking with your intelligence.
Intelligence. Mm-hmm.
All right, they're fucking with your intelligence. They know damn good and well these people are not mentally insane. Hey, listen. Paul Mooney had a joke back in the day. He said, "You know what insane is? If you do something and you turn yourself in, I just killed 35 people. All right. When you try to escape, you got good sense. You understand what I'm saying? When you try to run, you got good damn sense. You understand what I'm saying? So let's stop that bullshit. Anyway, let's take a 50-second break and come back with the main topic. We're gonna get into this Trump thing, man. This is interesting in and of itself. So I'll be right back, y'all. 50 seconds. Right back. Real talk all the time.
Real Talk Radio. Real Talk on Talk.
100% real. 100% real. 100% real. We had over 1,000 listeners. All right. Welcome back. We're a little bit past the top of the hour. My bad, but the conversation was getting interesting there. We got Sydney in the house, myself, H.J. Morgan. We got Doc Holliday joining us tonight. We're going to go ahead and talk about the first 2 weeks. Actually, it's just a little bit over 2 weeks here with Donald Trump presidency. It almost feels like 2 years. Boy, he ain't been in there but a hot minute. But it felt like we already did a stretch, you know what I'm saying, in prison and shit, you know. So, but it's very interesting. I just want to go ahead and start off with this. Donald Trump has already signed 22 executive orders. And I have to compare it to President Obama. He didn't, on average, he has signed fewer executive orders than any president. So I got to come out and say this, and I don't want to upset people, but what stopped President Obama from signing executive orders when it came to unarmed black men being shot dead in the street, innocent black men being shot dead in the street? Why couldn't he sign executive orders to do something about that? Was he just incapable of doing so? He just didn't want to? And I'm not trying to be mean. Maybe just a little bit facetious, but we had an epidemic during the 8 years of the President Obama administration of people being killed even on camera, innocent, on camera, from kids to adults and everything in between, and there was no executive orders saying to stop this shit. But this cat gets in office and he's signing executive orders just off some bizarre shit. I don't want anybody coming in the country. You know what I'm saying? This like a crazy man. You know what I'm saying? It's like he just signed all kinds of shit. In fact, he's signing shit. He don't even know what he's signing because he just gave Steve Bannon powers that he didn't really mean to give Steve Bannon. You understand what I'm saying? So this guy is just lost his fucking mind. And he might sign some shit to say he has to watch Melania get fucked in the ass on TV or some shit at this point. We don't know. This guy's just signing all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't know. Man, this guy is just signing the shit. You know what he's signing. So let's just start. Today I'm going to start with you, then we'll go ahead and let Doc Holliday rock. Sinead, what are your thoughts, man? The first 2 weeks have come in like a whirlwind. There's some stuff we knew would happen with Donald Trump, and then there's some stuff you're like, what in the fuck? So what's your thoughts on the Donald Trump presidency for right now? First 2 weeks in, what's your thoughts?
I think he's a tyrant. I think he's an idiot. I think he's a puppet, and he don't even know how much of a puppet he is. I think that they are letting him make an ass of himself, and I think Pence is plotting, and I feel like something is going to happen that he's going to be able to use to get his ass up out of there, and Pence will be where he wants to be anyway, which is in the seat, in the real seat, and it's just going to go from there. He's going to continue to do the bidding. Right now, Donald Trump is just like a circus. His shit is full of distractions. He's disrespectful. He has no clue about foreign policy. He has poor people skills. So it's just like a little kid running rampant and with no discipline at all. Like, he is just paying a publicist to be a publicist. I don't know if they just can't reel his ass in or what, but anybody knows that you have, I call them handlers, but they call them publicists, somebody to reel your ass in and say, wait a minute, don't say this, don't do this. He is just like the Wild Wild West. Just they opened the gate and he just went through like a damn bull in a china shop.
Right.
And he doesn't know anything about the law. Like he feels like the law is just his personal rule book, and now he's the boss, and everybody's going to do what he wants them to do. And that's it. Right. And if you don't, then you're going to get reprimanded in some way. And then he has this false sense of power, like he can just deem out consequences on any and everybody, which is ridiculous. And if they don't reel him in, he's going to get us in more trouble. And we're going to have more trouble to deal with just behind his mouth. It's like going to the club with somebody who can't fight, but they always picking a fight and talking shit.
Right.
It's the same thing. Like, you can't back it up, so shut the fuck up.
Right. Well, here's my thing real quick, and I'm going to give it to Doc Holliday. If you're non-white in this country, you're already in trouble. What's happening is that the rest of the country is finding out what trouble's all about. That's what's happening. Because what's happening is there was one guy I read on I think it was on Twitter. One white guy was avid Trump supporter, and he took away something, and he's like, he said, I'm sorry I voted for you. So Joe Bob from Mississippi is already upset about Donald Trump. Another young lady that had voted for him, she was up in arms too about something that had happened. I thought I believed in you, and all this shit, and he's talking about how she regrets voting for him. So this cat, I'll be honest with you, as far as I'm concerned, unless you're a rich white male, he don't give a fuck about you. So all those hillbillies that live in trailer parks all across the United States that voted for this cat, thinking that, they were in, they're getting a rude awakening themselves. Because I've seen their comments as well, and they're like, what the hell going on here? Cletus? What the fuck you done did? You talk me into voting for this motherfucker? It's getting crazy out there. But Doc Holliday, man, what's your thoughts, man? First 2 weeks, man, this cat is
they've been interesting. They've been eye-opening and enlightening. First off, I think that Donald Trump felt that he needed to strike while the iron was hot. I'm sorry, excuse me. In the sense that he knew people were so confused with regards to the fact that he even won the election that there was a lot of people that were still discombobulated by the whole thing. So what he proceeds to do immediately is to actually sign executive orders that basically violate the laws, and they also violate the protocol of how things are accomplished in this country. Basically, the guy is bypassing all the branches of government that could actually enforce these executive actions or the results of these executive actions that he wants to accomplish. He's bypassing them all. So he actually believes that he can run this country by edict, like he is some kind of authoritarian leader. And he figures that in the end, he'll actually be able to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish, even though it's illegal. So he'll throw it out there and order people to do it, and that process of trying to do it will start, but then protests like they did will occur. People say, wait, what the fuck are you doing? No, this is the real way you got to do this, and you got to be checked. But even with all that, because he has people that support his actions, that at the end of the day, he will actually implement most of or some of what he wanted to implement, and it'll be justified after the fact. And so that's what he's hoping for. He knows he's bypassing the judicial branch when he puts out laws like the immigration ban and the travel ban. But he figures once he puts it out there and he gets his Republican flunkies like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell to help Congress and Senate sign off on it, then it's a fucking done deal. So,
right.
And that ought to be extremely, extremely alarming to the people of this country. because what the man, I mean, when he is actually bypassing branches of government, particularly the judicial branch. So he's making the separation of powers a null and void circumstance, as if it doesn't really exist. So he is really pretty effectively, slowly but surely, establishing a dictatorship. And we talk about it. We say, "Oh, this is a dictatorship." It is. But what is it? What outrage can he commit before it gets to the point where people say, now he must in fact be stopped? You know, is it going to be when he sets up concentration camps or what?
Right.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. But we are seeing, you know, now, and I said this on my Facebook page, and I'm going to say it again. You have a lot of people of Middle Eastern descent, and I don't have anything against anybody per se, but I have to tell facts where facts need to come out. You had a lot of people, all right, from the Middle East, a lot of your lighter skinned Muslims that thought that they were honorary whites. Okay, They thought that. They thought they were honorary white folks. And those were the ones that were stuck outside at these airports across the globe and couldn't get back in the United States. You had a Syrian couple that voted for Donald Trump, okay, that sold into his bullshit, and you know, I don't know what they thought the outcome was going to be once he became president, but he showed them exactly what the error of their ways was when they couldn't get their asses back in this country. Okay, so I'm telling you, a lot of people, even your Asians, a lot of them think they honorary whites. Lady got knocked upside the head in L.A. By a woman that was screaming white power, you know, and stuff like that. This shit's getting really crazy, and a lot of people, and I have to say it because it's truth, a lot of people that have shit on black people as soon as they get to this country are getting a wake-up call. They're now understanding how we feel and why we feel the way we feel, and they don't understand what's happened. They don't understand what's happened. It's like it's like a carpet has been snatched up from under them, and they fall right on their ass, and they're looking around like, what the fuck is going on? We were trying to tell you. We were trying to tell you what's happening. You wouldn't listen. So I'm going to go ahead. I got another caller here, 6466. I'm bringing them on in. 6466, you're live. What's your name? Where you calling from, please?
This is Cassandra from South Carolina.
Hey,
Cassandra. And SC, what's going on, girl?
What's going on?
So I got to ask you, first 2 weeks of a Trump regime, what do you see? What's going on? What's your thoughts?
We all fucked. That's what's going on. We all knew we were fucked, but we're really fucked. He's just
federally
being such an ass, and we all knew that was going to happen. My thing is, why don't believe what he said he was going to do? Because he did exactly what he was going to do.
Right.
So everybody voted for this man. That and now they looking sideways like, oh, he's doing all this. No, he said he was going to do it.
He said it.
You know,
right.
There's no surprise.
Right.
You know,
right.
Why are we surprised? We're not surprised.
Right.
We got to deal with the consequences of our actions, and I'm not saying us as I'm saying the people that voted for him. And the problem is that it's gonna break down. The whole system is gonna break down. And yes, right. We're looking at it. Pence probably will wind up being the president because either Trump's gonna wind up getting assassinated or Trump's gonna wind up doing something so stupid that they're gonna impeach him. I mean, it's inevitable. It's it's inevitable. But
right.
we sitting around here looking around people looking around like, oh my goodness. No, not oh my goodness. Y'all should have never voted for him.
Well, here's the thing. I got to jump in here real quick. Here's the thing. Okay, let's say Trump does get impeached. These confirmations of these other characters, they're going to be in office, and they have no idea what they're doing. They have, you know what? If you're going to go ahead and confirm this chick DeVos, whatever her name is, what's the chick's name? What's the proper name?
Betsy
DeVos. Betsy DeVos,
yeah.
right? Shit, go ahead and give Vanessa Del Rio a job. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Put her in the goddamn cabinet. You know, she can do that job and suck a cock. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Like seriously. What the fuck are you?
Yeah.
None of these people have the qualifications to do any of these jobs that they were confirmed into. None of them. Not one, not two. None of them. None of them.
Yeah, you're right, brother. But that's of course, and we know this is by design as well. Look at if you look at his appointments carefully, some of these people that he's putting in place for a particular agency are people who were against that agency. And so he wants to nullify that agency for his friends and business associates. And so he is actually being very specific about who he puts in charge of what. I mean, DeVos it runs a private education empire. All right, so he puts her in charge of the Department of Education, so she can do all that she can to minimize the effectiveness of public education and hopefully wipe it out altogether, so that all we have in this country is paid education, and that has a lot of effects. One is that it makes her richer. Number two, it takes more poor people and black people out of the pool of whatever's available for public education after these folks get through, and so that means that it takes and continues to lock us into it continues to lock us in an economic cycle where we cannot advance as fast as we'd like to, and so that holds us down. So this guy's doing what he's doing by design.
Right.
He's doing what he's doing by design. And in terms of the EPA, where he has what's the guy's name? Rick Perry, the moron from Texas. Rick Perry has hated the EPA, and the reason why Rick Perry hates the EPA because Rick Perry is a shill for the oil company down in Texas, and the Environmental Protection Agency tries to make sure that these industries who can potentially pollute the environment do all they can to not pollute the environment. And these people say, well, not polluting the environment is an impediment to their bottom dollar. They wouldn't give a fuck if you had to wear a breathing mask every day to go to work and so forth. They want their money for the business that they're in, and so they'll dismantle the EPA. And of course, Rick Perry's the perfect candidate for that. Even if he doesn't dismantle it, it'll never function because Rick Perry will you know what I mean? It'll be non-functional. And so I think this guy is being extremely specific about his cabinet picks. The guy he put in charge of the Department of Labor is somebody who doesn't even believe in the minimum wage. Now, can you imagine if they took the minimum wage away in this country? My God, there would be people that would be starving to death. Homelessness would explode like a motherfucker because you'd have dirty sons of bitches who have jobs, particularly private jobs and businesses, who would basically tell you, motherfucker, you don't have to work for $1.50. You ain't going to work at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And they've been able to apply that to a larger swath of people than just the so-called illegal immigrants that come here. So, we are in serious trouble. The man doesn't know what he's doing, but he doesn't care because the net effect is he wants chaos. He wants chaos. Well, actually, he does know what he's doing. It appears that he doesn't know what he's doing, but he wants chaos. I think the only thing that surprised Trump's ass was the way Bannon snatched power from him. That shook his ass up a little bit because, it was something that he didn't dole that out. Bannon gave it to himself. And a guy bold enough to do that, I don't care who you are, Trump included, then you got to watch your ass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then you got to really watch your ass.
Let me caveat on that right now. Let me tell you something.
Go ahead, brother.
In the debate that Richard Spencer had with what's his name, Martin? What's the black guy's name?
Roland Martin.
MSF. Roland Martin. Okay. In the debate that Richard Spencer had with Roland Martin, he said specifically, go back, do the research, go back to that interview. He said that the alt-right would not come into their own until they opposed Donald Trump directly. So Steve Bannon is an alt-right, all right? That Breitbart thing he was running, alt-right straight through and through. Okay, Richard Spencer is an alt-right activist straight through and through. He said that they would not come into their own until they had to directly oppose Donald Trump. So just like you said, Steve Bannon snatched power, okay, and he did it strategically too because they have a whole plan all to their own as well. The alt-right, okay, is trying to do some shit here too, and they benefit off of a complete upheaval of things going on around here as well. And this damn fool is in bed with these cats, Donald Trump. I'm talking about the damn fool, and he has no idea what he's gotten himself into. He's way in over his fucking head, and he doesn't even he can't fathom it right now. But he's way in above his fucking head, way over his head, way over it. You know?
Yeah, and I'd like to continue to caveat on the same conversation.
Please do.
What we have in this country is we have several groups of powerful white people wanting to control the whole process of being in control. But they're competing, so they have certain competitions against each other. They have slightly different end goals. And Donald Trump, I believe, represents a group of rich white businessmen, some who may be bankers, of course, who want to be able to rape the economy for themselves, get as much money as they can, and enrich their families, disenfranchise everybody else by any means necessary, and they don't care. And I think that Donald Trump saw the alt-right as a tool to accomplish that, and what Donald Trump probably was hoping for was that the alt-right could be used to keep some of us in our place through fear and violence that the alt-right would commit. But see, here's the thing with the alt-right: the opposing end goal that the alt-right has to Donald Trump is that the alt-right, they want to set up white nationalism the way Hitler set it up. In other words, they may have financial goals just like Donald Trump, but their nationalistic goals are bigger for them than even the financial goals that Donald Trump and his banker buddies are trying to accomplish. So you got two different white groups trying to split this, trying to barbecue this cow called the United States of America. And so their end goals are slightly different from each other, and because of that, they're competing against each other. The alt-right would like to have Donald Trump march their agenda through faster and more efficiently, and Donald Trump is concentrating more on his businessmen and their cronies being able to rape the economy and fill their pockets. So that's basically what we're facing. We're facing competing white forces, all trying to be the specific white force that controls the levers of power, and their ultimate goal is the one that sees the light of day. And and that's kind of rough. Because it's like you're fighting the Hydra, you're fighting an 8-headed monster and shit. When you're not part of any of those groups. But so things are actually worse than what we think, because not only are we fighting what they're trying to accomplish, we're fighting more than one faction of them. And they all want to use whatever subterfuge they can to throw you off. That's why I feel like there is quite a possibility that the system will completely break down in this country. And
I believe it will.
Yeah, and what may happen, instead of having a civil war like we had in the 1800s where you had two distinct sides, I think you're going to have a fucking breakdown like they had in the Balkans between the Serbs and the Muslims in Sarajevo and that whole area. And that's more dangerous because on any given day you never know who the fuck is your enemy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're all going to be armed, and it's going to be crazy. But we have the potential of this country actually spiraling into that type of set of circumstances. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that there are, in fact, a group of white folks who want that, in fact, to happen. They want that to actually happen. And people would look and say, why would anybody want that to happen? Because it will benefit them. Whatever bad things come out of those circumstances will not affect them. It's going to affect us, but they're still going to make their profits and maintain the kind of global control they want to have. So that's what's going to happen. So like I said, that's interesting, but it's also scary. It's really scary to fight a balkanized war. And the next thing I want to do, I'm gonna give it back to you, Hobby. Let's talk a little bit more about the immigrants and immigration as well.
Okay, one second, Doc. We're going to touch on that. Sine had one the caveat of something that you said as well. So let me get Sine the caveat, and then we can continue on with that. Go ahead, Sine.
Not a problem. Go right ahead.
He touched on a couple of things that I was going to talk about. The first thing that he said was about how he is the people that he's choosing. Like you touched on Betsy, she's already a billionaire. And like he said, she and her husband had invested in this student debt collection agency. So either way, she's going to be good. The man that he picked for the Treasury Secretary, I think his name is Stephen, I think it's pronounced Mnuchin. He was a Goldman Sachs partner. He had a hedge fund that was instrumental in the housing crisis, and he actually bought the bank from California, IndyMac, I think it's called, that foreclosed on like over 30,000 families, and most of those were like the elderly and senior citizens that had been tricked into reverse mortgages. So, and he's known, he had some little like Maxine Waters referred to him as the foreclosure king or something like that. So he's known for that. The other thing I wanted to touch on is that what I didn't know that I have learned since he came into office, a lot of the reason why he's able to have regulations undone is because there's some rule that's never really used that they have uncovered and used. It's called the Congressional Review Act. And what they do is any regulation that the former president put into place 6 months prior to him leaving, they can easily undo it by just having a majority vote. So in these first couple of weeks, he's already lifted the ban on like mining companies so that they can start like putting trash and debris into the water and surrounding areas like Virginia and Kentucky. The Department of Agriculture, I read somewhere where they have removed different things from their website where you can't even see like inspection reports and information about things that they have uncovered in research labs and things like that. It's being just whitewashed away. So everything that they're doing it so quickly that they're undoing, like there's I think over 50 regulations that they can undo as long as it was put in place after mid-June of last year. And that's why they're having this big repeal drive against the Affordable Health Care Act. They're trying to undo as much as they can. And the easiest things are the ones that are still fresh and new, that are being slept on, that people don't really know about. And by the time they catch up to it, it's already a done deal. So, you know, they're even like, he even lifted some ban where the companies, big companies like these mining companies, methane companies, they don't have to disclose like labor law violations. They don't have to disclose anymore if they paid foreign countries money for any type of violations that they had in their countries. They don't even have to reveal that anymore. They used to have to reveal that. And if they did not become compliant, then for 3 years they couldn't get like a new contract. That's erased. So all of that is about money. Those are the type of things that people really need to be paying attention to, and not just his antics. Because it's like a dual play going on. You got to like pay attention to everything. You can't just focus on one thing because there's so much going on. And he has so many people, you know, working towards the same things that he's working towards, which is just to undo a lot of anything that Obama did and anything that's going to help the poor, the working poor, people that don't look like him. He's looking out only for the wealthy, and that's it.
Wow, that's bugged out. And thank you for that. That's crazy because you know what? Even with the situation in Detroit with the water. With Flint, that nobody wants it. Nobody's still addressing that shit. These people still don't have clean water. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck if not these people have clean water or not. You know? Real quick. Hold on 1 second. Real quick. Cassandra, do you have anything to caveat of the last couple of comments? Real quick.
Well, I mean, you just hit something just now with that whole water situation, because I'm like, they don't care because they're black. They don't care because it's us. And it's always going to be that way. It's always going to be that way. And until, I mean, we've talked about some of these things with Trump and his ulterior motives and the way he's going about getting all of these different players in place, knowing that he's probably not going to be around, but those players are there, is going to continuously keep this cycle going. So it's not going to be a 4-year thing, because once these people are in, yes,
I don't see it a 4-year thing.
Yeah, they're appointed by him at this point. But let me tell you something. Some of these are longevity type positions, like the judges. You know what I mean? It goes further than just the 4 years. So this is all a master plan, and that's all I. You guys said a lot about what the other topics, but this is just a master plan overall master plan.
Well, I mean,
I gotta agree with that.
Yeah, this shit, boy, is it's going south quick. Not for nothing. Let's get my man Doc Holliday. You want to talk about the immigrant situation real quick? Hold on, one second.
All right.
The call in, folks, is 657-383-0612. Again, it's 657-383-0612. Press 1 if you have a comment, question, whatever you want. If you want to be heard tonight. And also, the chat line is open, so you can text your question as well. Doc, go ahead with immigration.
All right, yeah. I mean, because immigration was such a big part of the fiascos of the last 2 weeks, I want to talk about immigration a little bit in terms of immigrants. You're right. A lot of these immigrants, white Muslims, because that's what they are. They're white. Those particular types of Muslims. White Muslims thought that they were honorary European whites, and so when they came to this country, they had an assumption that they were already accepted and that their efforts to make their lives good would not be opposed, and they in fact looked down on us, and our circumstances to them was something they had no concern of. And if they ever spoke with one of us and we had a conversation about it, they would dismiss our experiences as something that were unbelievable to them. The same thing with Asians. The same thing with Indians from the subcontinent, dark-skinned East Indians, darker than we are. We are in fact black, but they would tell us they were white, and they thought they were privileged as well. And so they're getting a wake-up call, but they need even more of a wake-up call. I mean, to me, this wake-up call right now is happening. I think it's going to continue, but it's still too slight. I mean, in the protests, we hear the uniting of the various groups, but I need to see more evidence that they are, in fact, reliable allies. I really do not have a feeling yet that they're reliable allies. So the only way that they're going to become reliable allies is that they're going to truly have to start suffering discomfort at the same levels that we have. And so,
it's going to happen.
And it is going to happen. It's going to happen. And so, but like when it really when it stops being an incident here and there, I think there'll be a little bit more of proof, or they will actually have to do things on a social level, visibly social level, that show us that they understand, and that there needs to be respect between us that wasn't there before. And empathy for us, and real cooperation from a political perspective. And so that's what I kind of wanted to say about the immigrants. They have to acknowledge that they were wrong in the past. I think that them coming to being an ally for what's just going on with them now without them acknowledging how they actually helped foster some of the things that are happening today, because they were on the other side. They were on the man's side that's doing what he's doing now. To me, I think they need to, within their collective selves, acknowledge that they helped this agenda somewhat themselves, and that they regret it now. I mean, just like the white Republican poor fools who voted for Trump, they regret the fact that he's taking their health care away, health care they never had before. And they got it, and now suddenly he's taking it away. And the surprise that they have that that's actually happening, it just goes to show you how incredibly dumb and how incredibly people can't connect the dots. You know, if you have health care, if you have health care that you never had before through Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, and this man is campaigning, he's going to dismantle it. What in God's name makes you think it's not going to affect you? If that's the kind of health care you get, and it's mind-boggling that people are that stupid. Or a lot of the old silly-ass whites who voted for him, and now their Social Security is being threatened. You know, and they're like, oh my God, how is this happening? What in the hell is wrong with you? And you know what? I just want to say one more thing that I thought was hilarious. You guys saw that video of that white woman that was spouting all that psychotic racism on Facebook, and she was calling the Haitians Muslims, and she was talking about the black people in her neighborhood. I mean, that video showed a level of ignorance that'll basically bring you to your knees. I mean, that woman was so stupid. It was, man, that was a powerful
so
statement
sad that it's funny
for people to see it.
Some of this
for people to see it.
Yeah, let me jump in here real quick. I got a call. I'm going to bring in. I just want to say this. Some of this shit is so sad that it's funny. Real quick, I want to say this. A week into Donald Trump's presidency, this guy has influenced crazy white people in other countries. You heard about the shooting of the mosque in Canada, for goodness sakes. This guy was a Trump supporter in Canada and shot up a mosque. You notice we haven't heard shit since. We haven't heard anything since this guy was caught. There was lots of speculation back and forth. People wanted to say, it was a Muslim that did it and all this shit. It was a white guy, blue eyes and all that shit, blue-eyed white male who was an avid Trump supporter in another damn country that took his inauguration as his cue to jump into action, to do something to Muslims. Shot up a mosque. There was a burning of a mosque in another state here in the United States. I'm not sure where it was at. If you know,
Texas.
let me know. Hit me.
Texas.
Okay, thank you. Texas. A mosque was burned. Again, another cue, silent dog whistle to these people who hate and want to rule by hate and fear. That burned the mosque down and all this type of shit. They've been burning black churches forever. You understand what I'm saying? They burned this mosque. Now it makes the news. So it's just very interesting how you see the climate changing, and not for nothing. I had to throw this in there too, real quick. Synagogues have been vandalized and stuff like that too across the country. So here we go again. You had Jews who somehow thought that they made the leap from Jew to WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, who were also getting a rude awakening. So everybody's getting their wake-up call. So I just want to put that out there. Let me bring Ms. Caller in. I know who this is. 1640, you're live. Go ahead, girl.
Hey, what's up, fellas? And
what's going on, April?
How y'all doing?
All right.
Nothing much. Yes, it's very rare that I come from behind the computer.
Yep,
to join in with you. But I just wanted to touch bases on what Doc had mentioned as far as, the Affordable Care Act. And
yes, please.
What people fail to realize is the real reason why they haven't, they never had a substitute plan or something better than
never.
It was. And one of the main reasons why is because, of course, everybody knows they say the Congress and the Senate and the President, they have the best health care out there, that free this. But once the Affordable Care Act came into play, they separated Congress and the Senate from the federal employees' health care plan, which is basically what the president is on, meaning, the free doctor's visits and the best private insurance companies, and all those private insurance companies were getting tax cuts from the government because, of course, they covered the Congress and the Senate. But once the Affordable Care Act came into play, Now Congress and Senate has to basically do what the regular folks do. They're regulated to the federal employees program, and their health care insurance is decided by OPM. And if they want to have anything outside of that, that's coming out of their pocket. So, the private health care insurance that they were entitled to before is not available to them now. And they have to do open enrollment just like everybody else.
Wow.
And them rich white folks didn't like that.
Right.
And if they didn't like what they had before under the federal employees, they could switch at any time. They didn't have to wait until open enrollment. So if 1 week they had, say, Blue Cross, and they wanted to get something else, they could go ahead and do that on your dime, and their deductible is like $400 for the year.
Wow, that's bugged out.
So that's would you want to switch your insurance if you had that good stuff? No.
Right.
They want it back, and then the only way they can get back to to that federal employees is once they retire. And for them, that's like COBRA, where they still have to pay out-of-pocket expense for that.
Wow, that's crazy.
So that's exactly why they were so up in arms about the Affordable Health Care Act, is because y'all got regulated to, you're supposed to be for the people. So I guess, the president figured, well, you know what, you're going to have the same benefits afforded to the federal government.
Right.
And you have to follow those same rules and regulations.
Right, and in fact, April, not for nothing, that was the guy, this white guy, mountain man type of dude, cockeyed hillbilly that had jumped on Twitter and was talking about, I voted for you, and this is how you treat us. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I said, yeah, dude. Yeah.
And then, wait till all them pre-existing conditions that they had, they can't go to, they're beholden to a job and insurance that they may not like, because if they go anyplace else, guess what? Your pre-existing conditions are not going to be covered.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you are going to have to wait that 90, because supposedly in the Affordable Care Act, you don't have to wait the 90. When you switch to a new job, you have to wait 90 days.
Right.
You're not supposed to wait the 90 days anymore. You're supposed to have coverage immediately.
Right.
No pre-existing.
Right. Well, I think you put it well.
And your pre-existing conditions are supposed to be covered. Guess
That's
what?
That's right. The pre-existing. Yeah. Well, I think you quoted it perfectly earlier when you hit us on the chat on the sidebar, and you said everything was cool in America until everybody started being treated like black people. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's
Everybody
right.
was all right until then. Now the whole country's been
America was the land. America was great. Everybody came. Oh yes, you could do this, and so they started getting treated like us.
Yeah.
Then everybody was up in arms like, oh, this is some bullshit. It's been bullshit.
Right. Well, the Sand niggas got the biggest wake up call in the last 2 weeks. But yeah, the others, your poor whites who are also niggers, and the others. You know what I'm saying? The Asian niggas are coming next. Trust me. The Asian niggas are next. But
yes, they are.
It's just the wake up call.
What I say, like the man picking off people one by one with the gun. That's what he's doing, picking them up one by one.
Well, yeah, that's right. He only cares about Donald Trump cares about rich white people. Okay, and he's pulling the okey doke on the poor whites that voted him in. He's giving them the business. And he's going to give them the business some more, too, as this thing continues on. And I'm going to tell you what, because they're so damn crazy, if he fucks them too much, it'll be one of them that tries to assassinate him. I'm telling you that right now. It'll be one of them that will do it.
Yeah, what is it? Chickens coming home to roost?
That's right. It'll be one of them that'll be like, I done had enough of this, Cletus. I done had enough. You know what I'm saying? It'll be one of them. It'll be one of them. Give me my musket. Give me my musket. So yeah, it'll be one of them. Yeah. So what can I tell you? But I just want to point out something that happened that that it had a quick blip in the news, and nobody's talking about it. This riot that they had, it was a riot. It wasn't a demonstration that they had at Berkeley over the past week. Okay, you had this speaker, I can't pronounce his name, Snuffleupagus, whatever the hell his name is, that wanted to come to Berkeley. He's a white supremacist, alt-right type of person and wanted to come to Berkeley to speak, and these white students tore up the place. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm on Breitbart's site right now. I'm on their site right now. And here's the verbiage. This is why I tell people all the time, especially in the African American community, about staying on code and doubling down. Okay? They have yet, even on the Breitbart site, to call these white youths that tore up Berkeley and caused about $50,000 worth of damage, thugs, okay, hoodlums, animals, or anything like that. They're calling them far left, anti-fascists, or something like that. You got to listen, folks. I'm gonna tell you something. If you're not watching the verbiage that goes down on popular media, on CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, if you're not listening to that verbiage, you're gonna be lost. You got to be able to dissect the verbiage. They're trying to blame this riot of white teens on George Soros. George Soros, of course, backs Black Lives Matter. So indirectly, these crazy bastards are going to try to blame Black Lives Matter for all white riot. You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to pay attention to the fucking verbiage.
Yeah.
You got to pay
listen,
attention to the verbiage. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to caveat on that a little bit.
Go ahead, sir.
If you noticed the way they were dressed when they showed up to that Berkeley riot, they had on all black. Their faces were covered with black, and so did the group that did the damage during the inauguration.
The inauguration.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And let me tell you something. In both cases, nobody from that group got arrested, but they were able to come into a place, cause severe violence, and get away with it. To me, I believe that they are a group of they are a cadre of people paid by the alt-right to do this kind of stuff to try to make the political left look bad. Because, I mean, how else could they fucking get away? So I mean, there's a whole group of them, and you could separate them from everybody else by the way they were dressed. So how the hell could you not catch them? How could the inept police, who would usually crack your head and pepper you while you were sitting down and all this kind of crazy shit, not be able to catch this herd of people that you can distinguish from the rest of the herd? It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Right.
I think these cats
That's the same way, when white folks riot.
Agents of the alt-right. You know, I think they're agent provocateurs, and they're a professional squad of agent provocateurs that have been hired by the alt-right to do this kind of shit. And you see what I mean when it comes to if it breaks down into a balkanized war, boy, you got to be careful. You don't know who the fuck is next to you. You know.
Listen, let me say this. I wanted to say this earlier, but I didn't. I see the same thing that you see. If America should get to that point, it's not gonna be a civil war like you said in the 1800s. We're gonna have like a battle royal going on. You're gonna have several different factions fighting in this country at the same time. It's gonna be extremely dangerous, extremely. Because like you said, you're not gonna know who the fuck is who's on whose side. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be bedlam here in this country, and this is what they want. This is what they want. As we draw down to the top of the hour, I got to ask this because, to me, this is the 600-pound gorilla in the room. I have to say this, folks. I'm going to start with Shanae and go down through everybody. Doc Holliday, I'm going to get your thoughts on this, too. But at this point, folks, the Coon Train has standing room only.
Oh, my gosh.
They've made their moves. Okay, they've ousted Stacey Dash's ass. She served her purpose. They've gotten rid of her. NBC has made moves. They got rid of the sister. I forgot her name.
Tamron Hall.
Tamron Hall.
They got rid of her. They oh man, your boy Steve Harvey is trying to do damage control and shit like that. Little Mo, who tried to defend Chrisette Michele, they said get the fuck up out of here. Chrisette Michelle's name and shit. But like I said, the Coon Train is standing room only, and these cats don't know. The coons are in over their heads as well. your Sheriff Clarks and all that shit. They're in over their head as well, and they don't realize that their time is numbered. Their days are numbered, literally. Sine, I want your thoughts on the coon expose, the Coonapalooza that we've been witnessing, and I have to also say Donald Trump's fucking comments about Frederick Douglass. He spoke about the man like he was still alive. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about when it comes to Black history. He knows nothing of Black history whatsoever. But anyway, Sine, what are your thoughts on that shit?
Let me just say this. I'm going to address that too. But the thing about Frederick Douglass and stuff, Omarosa and all of these people who wanted to champion him and say, oh, he's not what you think, it's not like what you see on TV and all of that shit. First of all, educate your boy before he gets in public and says the most asinine shit, and y'all look like even more stupid than you already look because you're sitting beside him and you're allowing him to say that dumbass shit. You're not even stopping him. You're just going to sit there and be a dumbass puppet. As far as the coon train, I feel like I have always felt, I don't feel like they have been ostracized enough. They need to be cast out.
That's right.
Just like when you had the plague back in the day, if you had that shit, they put your ass out of the settlement, out of the town. You couldn't be around nobody else. They didn't fuck with you. And I feel like it should be like that for them too. I'm sick of people saying, "Oh, forgive."
Fuck that
I'm
shit.
sick of that shit. I'm over that Emmett Till bullshit, that fake ass apology or admission or whatever the hell that was. Like all of that shit that simple Black people go for. Like they go for it every time. I'm tired of us always being the ones that bring people in. We're always the ones that's welcoming. I say it all the time. I've been in clubs where if a white person walk in, people may look, but they're not stared at. They don't feel uncomfortable. They begin to drink and dance and everything else. If I walk into a honky-tonk bar, everything is about to stop. The fucking music, everybody's going to be looking at me, everything. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying to not commiserate with any other races. What I am saying is that we need to have such a tight hold on each other that we don't have time to look at anybody else first because we got so much shit to do, and stop enveloping and welcoming and excusing shit. It is what it is. Steve Harvey, it is what it is. You turn your back on your motherfucking people. You smoke your dumb-ass cigars. You have your teeth set out like piano keys, and you play golf, and you think you're better. You forgot, fuck you. Like, I just feel like they should be ostracized. They should be put away. And y'all can stay with the crackers that you want to be with. Stay over there because they going to cash your ass out, too. But what I'm saying is we don't need to accept them back. Like, I just feel like we don't need to accept them back. Not. You showed me who you was. I don't fuck with you no more, period.
Right.
That's
Listen,
it.
I want to say this. We got to have checks and balances for these people, all right?
Yeah.
Not for nothing. We need a punishment system. I don't know how we're going to do it, but as we get more, and this is later on, we got more time to talk about this. As we try to get economic power, because that's something that we need to have as a community. We have to stop this bullshit. We have to get, like we had the brothers and sisters from the BAIO on a few weeks ago. All right, Mr. Holopsism and the crew came through. We have to form Black infrastructure and economics in this country somehow for us. We have to rebuild a Black Wall Street type of prototype, and that way we can go ahead and punish. We have to sanction and punish, okay, coons that do shit that is so atrociously wrong, okay, and we have to punish them appropriately. We have to treat them like lepers, like you said. We have to get biblical on their ass. We got to get medieval on that ass, like in the movie Pulp Fiction. I'm about to get a medieval on your ass. We got to go ahead and treat them like lepers. You understand what I'm saying? You're not gonna I posted a post that you guys probably saw on my Facebook page the other day. You're not going to throw us under the bus and then think shit is sweet after. Hell fucking no. We're not going to share no chicken and Popeyes after your dumb ass then wore a fucking football helmet, Jerry Rice.
Yes.
With a goddamn face mask with the mouth guard as a goddamn piece of chicken. You carrying around butter biscuits into the fucking end zone.
All he needs is a flag. Like he is like
you?
the mascot for coonism.
What the
real.
fuck is wrong with this cat? You understand what I'm saying? What is no? Hell no. We got to treat these people.
And that's what I'm
like
saying. You can't be that hard up for money and shit. That's what I'm saying. Like we sell our souls so quickly. Like our souls be for sale so quickly. Like really, motherfucker. Like there's no amount of money. I'm not getting on here and doing that shit.
No, man. Yeah, there's no forgiveness for that. There's no forgiveness for that. Cassandra, I'm gonna get to you, then Doc, then to April. Your thoughts real quick on the Coon situation with all this shit jumping off.
I just think that they think that forgiveness is a universal kind of sign that we're supposed to forgive regardless, and it's like, no. You showed your true colors. You are who you are. You know, be who you are, because that's who you are. You know, don't try to turn it around.
Right.
You know, and it's funny because you say that, you know, most of these people have they have a lot of, you know, Steve Harvey have a lot of money, Jay Wright has a lot of money. Even some of these actors and singers and yeah, but that's because they tap dancing. They tap dancing for the man all the time. They always doing it. So this ain't nothing new. They just showing it to us. You know, they act like you can't have two faces. You can't have two faces and think that you can't be in the black community and talk about it but not be about it. And they don't realize that we have had enough. Your face doesn't mean nothing to us. What's inside? What's coming out of you? You showing us your true colors. You know, and it's not enough to just be black. You know, you can be black, but are you black?
Right.
Where are your limits? Where are your principles? Like, where is it the line drawn where you like, wait a minute? Well, I want people to be where they don't even feel comfortable to offer that type of bullshit to you because they already know you're not with it. And that's what I'm saying. The fact that they can come and even ask you to do shit like that tells me what they think about you, because I won't ask people shit that I don't think I have a chance at getting what I'm asking for. They need to carry themselves accordingly.
And the thing is that they can think that there's no agenda, an alternative agenda, but there's always an alternative agenda. It's never straightforward. So, you know, they can act like they don't know, but we can see right through them.
Absolutely. Let's get to let me get April, then Doc Holliday. April, what's your thoughts on the Coon Train situation? Standing room only.
Man, I don't even know where to begin because folks are acting like this is something new. I've always said this, but people say, "Oh, you're mad because..." No, I'm mad. I've always hated Donald Trump. I've never been a fan of his. I don't care if he wasn't the president. He has shown who he's been from day one. Back to discriminate against us with the housing, you know, the Central Park 5. He has not changed one bit.
That's right. That's right.
He has been who he's always been.
Right.
So to say that, he's very sincere about helping the black community, he wants to reach out. No, the fuck he doesn't. Because if he really wants to reach out to the black community, go reach out to the Central Park 5 that you want to take full-page ads calling for their death, you know, for them to have the death penalty and shit like that. That's if you want to really reach out to the black community.
Right.
And you put Omarosa in charge of black community outreach, please.
Shit.
Right.
Really?
Right. Exactly.
Come on now. Yeah. And the thing is, he knew exactly who to go to who wouldn't say, "Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit." No.
They done made Omarosa the Negro whisperer and shit. Fuck out of here. She don't speak my language.
Exactly. Because I told my friend, you know, who appointed her to speak for the black community? Because I'm mad I missed the email or, you know, the meeting that was scheduled for 6:00 with all black people in the world. Got together and talked and nominated her to speak for everybody.
Right. Absolutely. Doc Holliday, brother.
That's just asinine. But then, like you said, they will get what they deserve because you get used. They'll use you until they can't use you no more. You become of no significance to them anymore.
You got to double down. April and everybody on this panel.
Exactly.
You got to double down, and you got to close ranks. I'm sorry. Let me say this real quick.
And they do it skillfully because they do it to the point where they know, okay, yeah, we're going to have him shuck and jive, and then his own people are going to be against him. And guess what? We don't have no use for you no more.
Exactly.
You've already been tainted.
This is
They're
part of the problem.
What they deserve. They're going to get what they deserve.
This is the problem. This is the problem, y'all. White supremacy is a team sport. And they always had you believe, because I've had white people tell me, I had a guy actually that I actually had on the show before. I'm not going to mention no names. But I had a guy that I had come on the show before in private tell me that I didn't have to take on the problems of the black community because all I had to do was do X, Y, and Z for myself and fuck everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I cut this motherfucker the fuck off. Now, let me tell you something. White supremacy is a team sport. Okay? Now, are all white people white supremacists? No, of course not. Have all white people benefited from white supremacy? Oh, hell yeah. Okay? Oh, hell yeah. Now, let me say this.
Let me jump you. And he's brought them to the forefront. So when people say, well, you know, he's divided us as, you know, it was Obama who divided everybody and is more racism. No, because when Obama was elected, this is how you know black people weren't going around, you know, punching white folks in the face talking about, yeah, we got a black president now, fuck you.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, we didn't do no shit like that.
Until he came into office and he started running.
Exactly. Black people didn't go around burning white churches down and shoot white people in church. We didn't do no shit like that. But
you remember how they ostracized? Well, they didn't ostracize, but they talked about him. I forgot the preacher that was speaking on racism, and they really rolled Obama's ass about him. I forgot his name. But at the same time,
it was Jeremiah Wright. I think it was Jeremiah Wright.
I'm gonna tell you
but at the same time now, at this breakfast that he had with all of these black people, where he talked about the Johnson Amendment, I had to look that up because I didn't know what the fuck it was. But it's an amendment that was brought about in 1954. He says he wants to do away with it. Does anybody on the panel know what the Johnson Amendment is?
I do not.
Do you know?
I do.
Okay.
I know about it.
It blocks tax-exempt churches and organizations from directly or indirectly participating in any type of political campaign. Now, white Protestants have been against it since it first started. He says he's going to do away with it, and he's got another little pretty name for it, I forgot. But really what it's going to do is going to have their hands more in the cookie jar, because I don't feel like it was ever not in the cookie jar. And it's going to help them legalize, really, discrimination, because any church or organization that does not agree with same-sex marriages, premarital sex, abortions, anything like that, they can get some type of exemption. I'm telling you, like, that, those are the things that people need to educate themselves on and stop sitting down and having breakfast with this asshole that doesn't even know who the hell Frederick Douglass is. Like, for what? If I'm convinced that I don't fuck with Donald Trump and I don't like him, there's nothing that anyone can say to me that's going to make me like him. So that's what I'm saying. He's not going to get new. He's been consistent. Y'all sitting down with him is going to do what? Nothing. It's going to accomplish nothing. It makes you look stupid.
Right. That was like me saying, if I was to say on live TV that General Lee is still alive and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, motherfucker? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's like some dumb shit. Not for nothing. Doc, I'm going to bring you in. Your thoughts on the Coon situation. Standing room only, sir.
All right. Well, hey, I think one of the good things about the Coon train is that coons are not as effective as white people would like them to be. You know, so they spend a lot of time and effort on hiring and putting coons in public view, But, the black community actually has gotten better about that. We know who the fucking coons are, and they mean absolutely nothing to us, and they will not change our opinion. In other words, most black people that know what's going on, and we have opinions that reflect that, coons not going to be able to come along and persuade us otherwise. So basically, there's a lot of wasted resource when crackers hire coons. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue. Nobody listens to a coon. I can't remember when I have ever been in the presence of a nigger as bad as that stupid sheriff from wherever he's from.
Oh, my God. Yes.
I have not been in the presence of somebody black like that. So these coons really, they're an oddity, and they're already ostracized from the black community because most blacks ain't going to be around a clown like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
exactly.
So like I said, coons are not as effective as they think they are. So we can continue to do what we do with them. We can make it worse for them. But generally, our ignoring them is working, actually.
Right. Well, one thing, too, is that they're being used up in front of our eyes and thrown to the side like trash. And that's the thing that's fucking people up. Okay? This Stacey Dash thing, they threw her ass. I mean, Trump wasn't in office 5 minutes. They got rid of her ass. They said, okay, thank you. See ya. Okay? So it's shit like this that people have to start looking at. All right? Shit like this.
Yeah.
All right? I got this from somebody else. I didn't coin this phrase, but cooning doesn't have a retirement plan. Cooning does not have a retirement plan. Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? There's no retirement plan for coons.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
We're at 9/11, guys, right now. So let's go ahead and get some start getting into the final thoughts. But Doc, I had you on as one of my special guests, man. So any other thoughts you have on the first 2 weeks of a Donald Trump presidency as we get ready to wind this down here shortly?
Well, I don't really have any. I think we've covered most of it. The thing is just keep your eyes open. Everybody keep your eyes open, pay attention to what's going on, and continue the resistance. Because it ain't going to change. I don't know. I believe within the next 6 months or before this year is over, we're going to see something that's going to be really major with regards to what Trump does that tries to circumvent law in this country. That is going to have consequences that will not be able to be ignored or smoothed over. So just hold on to your seatbelt because it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Just to caveat off that, I'm going to tell you, I posted something earlier about the situation with the Ukraine and Russia and oil in that part of the world. If you guys get a chance to check it out, go to my Facebook page and check that post out. I see Donald Trump trying to reverse these sanctions that were put on the Russians when President Obama was on his way out. There's some saber rattling going on with Iran. There's some saber rattling going on with China. I'm gonna tell you right now, we as a military man, I'm talking. We don't want it with either one of these countries. Okay, we don't want it. We don't want that business with Iran or China. Definitely not China. All right?
Yeah.
We don't want that business.
Yeah.
And like I said, I posted something last week. I said at the end of the day, China can do a move from the movie Wise Guys and say,
pay me, fuck you.
Pay me. Yeah, fuck you, pay me, and it's game over. Okay? Because China financially owns the United States. How about that one?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. You brought up something, and it made me think a little bit more in depth with the China and the Russia and the whole thing. The other thing that Trump is doing is that there were certain sanctions or actually rules that did not allow certain financial institutions to do business with Russian intelligence agencies. That rule has been lifted. So now financial institutions in this country can lend or get involved with business transactions with Russian spy agencies. Now that ought to blow somebody's fucking mind. I don't know why the CIA or somebody said, "Look, we got to get rid of this motherfucker." So I mean, the things that Trump is doing internationally, and let's say with Russia specifically, is mind-boggling. I think he's doing it because he wants to, because him and Tillman and all of them got so much money invested in oil extraction in Russia. that they don't give a damn about national security. They want to make their money, so
No.
they will allow Russia to do all kinds of things. But at the same time, if Russia really is still our enemy, then that means we're opened up for all kinds of manipulation and bribery that that Russia might impose on us. Now the other thing is this: when Trump talks about China and Afghanistan, you're absolutely right. But here's the more sadder thing: is that if we actually went to war and it wasn't a nuclear war right away, or even if it is, it doesn't matter what kind of war it is. If we go to war with China, I tell you, Russia, for all its coziness with us, is going to be on China's side. All right? If we go to war with with Iran, China and Russia is going to be on Iran's side because that country is in their sphere of influence. And they've always dealt with Iran from a business perspective and a technology perspective. That ain't going to change. That's going to double down for them. So Trump is your typical type of blowhard white dude who imagines he's tougher than what he really is. You know, he's like a cop. I got a gun on. I stick my chest out. I challenge people. And in my own mind, I think I'm a bad motherfucker. And then all of a sudden you find yourself walking down the street where you ain't got that gun. You know, like the Twilight Zone. You're in uniform, you think you're having a normal day, but suddenly your gun is gone, and you talking shit, and everybody knows you ain't got no gun or no backup either. And let me see how bad you are then. And that's the thing about Trump. He's a motherfucking blowhard white bully who hasn't walked into the right place yet, where they can hand him his teeth. So you know what I'm saying? But so he's about to get this country in some shit that we don't want to get into at all. And somebody needs to, before it hits the fan and we actually get into that shit, somebody's going to have to curtail his actions, man. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can't handle it. We can't win those wars.
No, we can't. Sinead, I'm going to go with you. Sister, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to touch on one thing that I was talking to Shelly, y'all. Some of y'all know Shelly. And she told me about this incident where he had a reporter thrown out of a press conference he was having. And she described it to me. I was at work, so I couldn't see it. So when I got off the phone with her later on, I actually pulled it up. The reporter was a reporter from Univision. And what he did was the reporter stood up and was asking him a question. He, of course, was disrespectful and told him that he wasn't answering questions and talking over him. So the reporter proceeded to go ahead and ask the question, and he had him removed. Now, he had the reporter removed, and I have two issues with this. He had the reporter removed, which I don't think that he should be able to do because they do have press clearance. The person that removed him physically put his hands on him. He told him, don't put your hands on me. He put his hands on him and, like, walked his ass out like you would jack up a little kid and walk their ass to the office or something, and told him to go back to his country. My problem with that is that, first of all, if my boss asks me to do something and I do it, but on top of that I say some shit like go back to your country, I only say that because I know I'm not going to get reprimanded. I only say that because I know that shit is okay to say. Number two, what pissed me off is all the other reporters, everybody saw it, knew it was wrong. Nobody stood up and said, no, that shit ain't right, or all of y'all walk the fuck out because he needs the media. He needs you. If everybody walks the fuck out, who is he going to stand up there and talk to? That's the issue, that he's so fucking disrespectful, and he goes unchecked so many times, and his people are going unchecked because that man should not have been removed. He should not have had his hands put on him, and for that man to tell him he needs to go back to his country, and the man proceeded to inform and advise him that he is a citizen of the United States of America, and this is his country. But that is the type of disrespect that I'm talking about. That shit just really hurt me, and it bothered me tremendously.
Yeah, disrespectful smart. You know, this guy is something else. You know, let's go ahead and go to Cassandra, what do you got for us, man? We get ready to go ahead and wind things down. Like I said, we went over the first 2 weeks of this guy's regime. It felt like 2 years. What do you got? Are we going to see more of this kind of foolishness going forward, or what?
This is just the beginning. It's the beginning of our hell. And I'm trying to tell you. I mean, I'm just looking. I've been looking at CNN. You know, I stay away from a lot of the media during the week because it's enough to make you want to do something about it, and you can't really do nothing about it because look who's leading the country. But I mean, just the stupidity, the sheer stupidity that's going on in our government is mind-boggling. And the other thing is that I shouldn't even say mind-boggling because that's not the right word. The right word is that it's just ludicrous, and it's going to continue to be that way. And I feel so helpless at times because we've tried so hard, and then to get where we have gone the last couple of weeks is just amazing. How things have just turned around so fast, and we knew it was going to happen. And so it's hard to watch, it's hard to see, but it's inevitable. And one other thing I want to say about this travel ban, let me tell you something. This is just the beginning of a war, because Trump, not only is he doesn't know how to speak, he doesn't know how to use candor with these other countries, and they're not going to take it lightly that he's insinuating that they are all terrorists. He's insinuating that these countries are a threat. And some of them are, we know the threats out there. But, at the end of the day, you can't just lump a type of person, a country into one band. That's just like lumping all black people in one category, right? It's like all black people are in one category. You know what I mean? The same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not for nothing, they said that this is and I don't think that the FBI nor the CIA are fully in Donald Trump's pocket. I don't think that they're fully on board with this guy, which also creates danger for Donald Trump and his merry men. These guys are trying to give him bona fide information, and he's poo-pooing the information. They're telling him that what he's done is a wonderful recruiting tool for ISIS, and he doesn't give a fuck. So he had disdain coming in for the CIA's intelligence, and so not for nothing. If anybody knows anything about the CIA, they'll kill you in a minute. So he keeps fucking with them, and there might be some shit that he might get himself into.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something about this country that many of you know. They will blow up an airplane full of people to get one person. So
absolutely.
I mean, nobody's untouchable when it comes to the CIA. So they're trying to advise him correctly, and he's telling them to go fuck themselves, basically. So that's another issue.
Yeah.
Real quick.
I'm sorry, Josh. Yeah, they put a kid with a new toy in charge of the country. Because that's exactly what he is, and that's exactly what he acts like. Ooh, I'm going to do this. Ooh, shiny new object. Let me go ahead and touch that. Let me go ahead and play that. Like his failed, what they were, according to them, it was a successcause mission in Yemen. No, it wasn't.
Oh, the Yemen thing.
They goaded you into doing that. Because come to find out what they told you was, Obama didn't have the guts to do it because we presented it. No, he was smart enough to know that it requires more planning and more strategy than us just going in there willy-nilly, especially if you don't know the man you're looking for is in there.
Exactly.
And you got your asses handed to you, and now you look like a bunch of idiots.
Right. And now then
you have the fools that'll say, "Oh, it was the Obama administration that." No, they didn't greenlight this stupid asses. He was no longer president.
Right. But you know what? They'll believe it. This is the insanity. This is why I mentioned again, and I posted on Facebook. Stop trying to have logical conversations and debates with Trump supporters. You're not going to do it. You're going to frustrate yourself and want to hit somebody in the head with something heavy. Just stop. Just stop talking to these people altogether. Just stop. Because these cats are so fucking up Trump's ass that I'm going to tell you, and this sounds horrible, but Trump would rape a small child on public TV, and Trump supporters would be like, "Hey, all right." You understand? This is how sick these people are. This is how sick.
No, they would probably say, "Oh, he just tripped and fell on the child. He didn't rape him."
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
This is how crazy this motherfucker is. This is how crazy these people are that support Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I Yeah, I'll tell you something else. When it comes to it's so unfortunate when it comes to the Middle East. The thing that people forget once you get engaged in all this craziness is that nobody in the Middle East in reality ever really attacked the United States. I don't care. The reason why we know about the Middle East is because we had colonial interests in the Middle East. So
right.
we went to different countries in the Middle East over 100 years ago to get their oil, and we've been back and forth with that effort of being able to get their oil, and that's why we know about the Middle East, and that's why we have conflict with the Middle East. So to actually say that the Middle East is attacking us is a bunch of bullshit. If we had never went over there, they would never be over here. And a lot of people, that bypasses a lot of people's brains. Well, that once again, you have to know history to be able to know that that's what's really going on. So, with that being a fact, and clowns not knowing it, what happens is you got people in this country that continue to support actions by this country in other parts of the world that were never justified from day one. But because we don't know nothing about day one, we keep running this wheel over and over and over again, and it's never going to end. Because we're not dealing with the truth of it. We're not dealing with what the fuck happened on day one.
Right.
And if we actually come to a self-evaluation, maybe we could do something that could reverse the efforts of what happened on day one and have a better rapport with these people that we're fighting with. And bringing it back to current times when it comes to Iraq, for instance. Everybody knows that we went into Iraq and we were wrong for doing it. And yet you got Donald Trump talking about we should just take their oil.
Yes.
That motherfucker's crazy. And basically he's telling the Iraqi people, fuck you, I'll take your shit. And then on top of that, right now we got troops in Iraq fighting alongside Iraqis to try to get rid of ISIS. We have Iranian soldiers in Iraq fighting ISIS because they're Shia and not Sunni. So Iran in certain places is in a de facto way on our side. But with Trump and the shit that he's talking, he's basically putting American troops that are on the ground in that area in danger.
In Trump.
Because I mean, why does he think ISIS formed in the first place? You know why ISIS was formed in the first place? You know who the original core of ISIS really is? It's Iraqi soldiers who were put out of a fucking job when we first invaded Iraq and we disbanded the Iraqi army. And so towards the end, they realized that was the wrong thing to do. They began arming and paying these former soldiers to fight for us. And then because we couldn't come up with the right deals to benefit them, then they became an entity of themselves. So a lot of people don't really realize what's really going on. We fucking created ISIS. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we did.
It's biting us back in the ass again, and we're going to create another ISIS is what I'm trying to get to. If we continue to insult the Iraqi and say we're not going to respect any form of ownership or sovereignty that they have, then the same Iraqi army that we're training now will turn against our troops and start assassinating us while they're sleeping next to us, and we'll have yet another ISIS-like organization in our hands. So it's all bullshit.
Let me say this real quick. I got to jump in here. We got 2 minutes. We get running down to the 2-minute mark. I got to say this real quick, and I want to thank everybody for their comments. Doc Holliday, again, man, very insightful. Cassandra, Sine, April. I just want to say this. Again, watch the verbiage, okay, when you're listening to mainstream media. Now, here's something that I see happening that's going to happen. Donald Trump is trying to get his way with mainstream media so that they're only, mainstream media is fickle anyway, but he wants it, he wants them solely in his pocket. So no matter what he says or does that may seem outrageous, they're going to make it seem like it's perfectly normal activity. So he's going to try to get his way with the media. All right. So all this stuff with the media and these memes, these skits on Saturday Night Live that are clowning this guy, when those cease, and when the media is somehow forced to spin whatever this asshole does in a positive light, that's when you know you're in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? This is when you know you're in trouble. And for those that I got into an argument with a sister earlier this week, when that starts happening, and it can happen anywhere, okay, you're looking at Nazi Germany all over again. You understand? When the media can no longer show you for what you are, you're looking at a dangerous situation, a dangerous precedent. And we're setting the stage for that right now. We're winding down. We got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for calling in. Thank you so much, guys. Catch us next week, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, guys. It's been off the hook, intense conversation as usual. Thank you for the support. Doc Holliday, Sinead, Cassandra, April, everybody that's listening, thank you so much. We'll be back next week, y'all. We'll talk all the time. Tuesday, 7:30. We out of here.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Napa know-how.
A Napa guy knows more isn't always better, unless we're talking about full-size vans. These beasts do more than get you from A to B. They have so much space a man can live in it. With shag carpeting, waterbed, and a sweet lava lamp, these mobile abodes have all the comforts of home. With quality parts and plenty of Napa know-how, you can keep the original tiny house running longer, stronger. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
Oh, wow. You're actually wearing your hair down tonight.
Yeah, because I finally decided that I love my hair. I figured out the solution for my morning frizz, midday poof, and even next day bedhead. It's Frizz E Secret Weapon Touch-Up Cream by John Frieda.
Well, you and your hair look flawless.
Flawless and touchable. Feel.
Oh.
See? It's soft. Smooth ends, no flyaways, shiny.
Well, I clearly need to get some because your hair looks amazing.
Frizz E Secret Weapon, only from John Frieda.